And how's it going, George the Hulk here? I got a couple boxes of Rosetta, or I should say, a full case of Rosetta. I'm going to open today. Good little talking, a little theory crafting, a little uh, admiring the art of this set. I like to say, Briar is the reason I fell in love with Fab, and this set is kind of an homage to Briar. So I am extremely excited uh, to open up some packs. I'll say this is the first set in a very long time. I would say every single hero interests me. Um, from Acilio with all of the bouncing of the sigils and amping stuff and all those free amps and all these lightning cards and like extra value. Super interesting. With Aurora and how she rewards you for pitching, all that sort of fun stuff. Little art card, tokens, foil, um, bunch of commons. Cool. I'm gonna sort these out later. Um, Even especially the Earth heroes. The whole ability to double auras. So things like double embodiments of Earth, like Earth's Embrace, is a very exciting prospect to me. I'm loving things like Verdance with like the little puzzle of like, oh, how do you heal ideally multiple times per turn? You know, I think the knee jerk reaction of like, oh, you could do something like uh one cost arcane spell plus like count your blessings. That's interesting. Oh, first majestic we got is cut through the facade. It's a little sorry about that. A little bit of a aura hate card. When it hits a hero, you may destroy an aura they control. So I think the exciting part about that card is I think when you really start looking at it, how many classes run auras? You have things like ponder, might, agility, all these things you don't really think of as auras, but boom, a little extra value with an on hit. Then we have high voltage. It is a zero cost amp one lightning instant. So the fun part of that kind of card design is everything's relevant on this card except for the amp one, right? Well, the amp one, in a deck that's abusing that, it's not just amp one, it's amp two because you're also counting Volzar, but or your weapon, right? Because you could also amp up like a Surging Aethertide, for example. I know that kind of combo's gotten really popular with like oh, what have we here? Uh is this a Marvel? I have no idea what I'm looking at. Okay, chat. Sigil of Deadwood with an absolutely gorgeous mark. Where are my sleeves? This feels like a Marvel. Your action phase, destroy this. When this leaves the arena, gain a rune chant. Oh my goodness. Sorry, this is there we go. That is absolutely gorgeous. Let me grab. I got some penny sleeves for this. Plus I got some pennies. I got some sleeves for sorting commons because I actually will sort my commons. I like to put them in like 10 of a certain type um uh in a penny sleeve and then put them in a box. That way, like, oh, someone's looking for a playset of stuff, you just pull them out 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and good to go. Um, Let's see what we got over here. Nothing too exciting. Yeah, so I looked a fair bit into the set, but I haven't done like any extreme deep dives or anything. Like I know there's Marvel Heroes. I am really excited to see if that is that is a triangle. So like I believe that is in fact a Marvel, but um we'll have to look that one up later. That's exciting. Um so this design space, I love this. So we have these one cost lightning attacks. So one of my favorite cards was for lightning cards was Shock Charmers. This was in so let me lower this. Lower this desktop audio. So Shock Charmers had a synergy with Lexi where and Briar, where every time it dealt damage, it triggered some effects. For like Lexi, this could be like every ping was actually like 2 damage, or it could be extra frostbites or discard effects. Loves all that stuff. And the interesting thing about it is it lets you keep around the flow cards. Channel Lake Frigid was the chief offender back in Tales of Varia. But now we've got even more powerful channel effects. We have things like Channel Lightning Valley. Like, is there room for things like is there room for things like Channel Thundersteps, where you're doing like Channel Thundersteps, Heaven's Claw into something else, or Heaven's Claw because you have an extra, go again. Like, I don't know. We'll see. Oh, we got Unsheathed. This is a uh, warrior card. Next to warrior's sword attack gets +3, and whenever it stacks, it gets if its attack is greater than twice its base, it gets go again. So all words that warriors love. Go again, and I love this dichotomy of is especially prevalent in like heavy hitters, where it was like you had vigor, you had might, and you had agility, and it was very obvious when you started looking at the design of those classes that like, oh, if you gave warriors that might to get those on hits through, that would have been way more obnoxious. Or if you gave brutes vigor so they could pay for two costs with a blue, like it would just be absolutely broken. And it's just incredible how they've balanced the game. And how tight the not tight how open the design space is, but how they keep threading that line of interesting new designs, but not being terribly overpowered. Yeah, things like electrostatic discharge. Love this with all the lightning cards. You just get such interesting synergies when you're like using lightning greaves to gain extra action points and bouncing your cards and doing all this sort of stuff. Some really cool play lines you can take with lightning. So very excited about that. Aurora. Little art cards, super fun idea. Love that. Let's see. Yeah, Flash is an interesting one because it's a card that you play that gets to go again, kind of in the same vein as uh, Blink, but it has a completely different set of synergy pieces, right? Whereas it's not an instant; it's a non-attack action. So all the Rune Blade stuff, you get really excited because like, oh, I played non-attack action this turn. Now I can do, Flash into one cost into Nebula Blade or something. Um, Interesting stuff there. Um, Heartbeat a candle hold. Got our. Oh yeah, let me just. Vernon specialization. Gain one life. Gain one life. And gain another life. So a fun little one card six that um you know uh once you have your hero ability online, you just get tons of free value. And that'll be the fun puzzle is like how do you gain multiple life? Because like if your leader ability is just getting you one value per turn, it's gonna be offensive value. Like, are you excited about that when you have things like Viscerai who get like anywhere from 2 to 1 to 2, sometimes more, with like Mordred and such? Like, I don't think so. So, and I think it's super interesting how they gave the restriction of only during your turn. Oh, that card's insane. Um, got a doozy. But like blocking with Findell's Fighting Spirits, Oasis Respite, all that sort of stuff, out the window. Get out of here. So, not a thing. Arc Lightning. That's a fun card. So, every time you activate Go Again, you deal one arcane damage, and your next card gains Go Again. So literally just it plus 0 cost card plus 0 cost card. Now you're getting 2 damage. Not exciting, but obviously it's not limited to just like action cards. So things like your equipment, things like your weapon, all these sort of things now start hurting for 1 extra damage. Very exciting stuff. Looking forward to playing with that. All right. Oh, little assassin equipment. Arcane Barrier and Spell Void. I'll never forget the Battle Hardened in Orlando. Guy and Tom, Assassin Brothers, it was the local heroes taking out everyone on their way to the top. And then the one matchup they feared, the lone Kano. Not really. There was plenty of Kanos that day, but the finals was a epic, insane game, and I actually remember every single card that was played. It was. That's not true. It was Tom used Command and Conquer, and then immediately was blown up for 40 damage before the Command and Conquer even landed. that was it. That was the whole game. He died on basically turn 1. So yeah, it was absolutely crazy. But like the deck had was pretty tight on slots. The arcane barrier, the arcane equipment they had access to was like the lantern, and then like just the null rune set, which is not where you want to be. Oh, a double majestic pack. Okay. Another unsheathed. Let's go. Warrior gang, heavy hitter squad, and 10 foot tall and bulletproof. When it attacks or defends, your hero gets -2 intellect for the next phase. So, um, super interesting. Obviously, it could be like a Hail Mary, I block for 10 kind of play. Uh, my thought goes to something like um, brutes. You know, we have things like tear limb for limb. Obviously, it doesn't work with this because it's not a brute card. But that kind of design space is still very open. So that'll be super interesting to see. Um, if cards that care about having other high attack cards, so like things like maybe Rouse the Ancients, could be interesting, right? Um, adds a little more flexibility there. Time will tell, of course. That's our first box. So we got 2 foil majestics and 6 regulars. So good stuff. So I add that to the pile. Yeah, the number one deck I am most excited for is Florian. So the interaction I enjoy, I'm excited for in particular, is with Earth's Embrace. So I look at Earth's Embrace, and I'm a Levia player. I love Levia. I love the whole banishing mechanic, graveyard, all that sort of fun stuff, and I love crazy good value. And Florian offers that, especially with Earth's Embrace, without the downside of sometimes just blowing up. So yeah, and I made the comment early on when I first saw that card. I'm like, oh, so you're telling me I need a card that banishes an Earth card every game, every turn? Wow, I've already done this math before. This is just a Levia deck. So, looking forward to brewing that. I think the secret sauce there, I think is going to be So for Tomorrow. It's a 1-cost Earth card that when you play it from Arsenal, you draw a card, and you also banish. Uh, you banish a card from you banish it. Sorry. So you put a card from your deck, from your graveyard, to the bottom of the deck. Ideally, when you're at super high value Earth cards. And you like Felling Crown, Plow Under, whatever, Cadaverous, and then you banish itself. So all the cards you block that turn are graveyard fill effectively. And the card you draw, if it's a red that you want to play, awesome. You just played So from Tomorrow from your arsenal. Your arsenal's free. Boom, arsenal it. If it's like a yellow card or a blue card that you don't really want to play, you just pitch it to you pitch it to I'm blanking. Grasp the Arknight. Once you're online, which you're gonna get online super quickly in this deck, you gain 2 rune chance, attack with Nebula Blade. Because you played So from Tomorrow, you get a good old fashioned either 1-card 6 or a 2-card 8. Assuming the unhit. So, and it's at a break point, so lots of stuff to play around with there, and very excited for that. Yeah, see the form cards, the lightning form and the earth form, and it's such a simple idea. I'm just shocked. It's shocking. That wasn't in Tales of Aria. Like I look at that card and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Tales of Aria card. Nope, nope, that's brand new. Um, So that's cool. And this kind of card is fascinating. Runeblade, red is 3 for 7. When this attacks or hits, you may destroy an aura you control to create a rune chant token. Like, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, oh, Mordred Tide. You know, you attack with it, destroy a rune chant token, create 2 rune chant tokens. And then when it hits, you destroy a rune chant token, make 2 more rune chant tokens. I think that only works in Viceroy, probably. That's a good rules question. I assume a little cold foil. So like when you attack with this, is this a case of like the rune chants trigger, the damage is dealt, and then you destroy them, gaining another rune chant? Is that how that functions? Because there was a combo with like Looming Doom that was just like it was always like in the back of every deck builder's mind, like, oh, can I make Looming Doom work? Is now Looming Doom's time? Um, and effectively, the concept was if you've attacked this turn, you played an attack action card this turn, you could effectively blow up all the rune chants you made, and then as an instant use creepers to deal all the damage with those rune chants, and then also gain the 2 damage over time. So you're tripling the damage of rune chants that you could create on a certain turn cycle. The classic example was like I use, Ravenous Rabble, attack, then play something like, or you play like Modern Skies, 0 for 4, play Revel in Runeblood, then attack with your weapon, instant, Looming Doom. These were all like 4 to 5 card hands, and they involved ended up running a bunch of janky cards. So like it never really caught on. And if you ever did it, you're usually so far behind, it didn't matter anyway. Like there's some argument he said like once you get close to the end of the game, like having that 2 constant pressure just lets you block a whole bunch, and you just effectively have like, a really nice defensive deck, really nice setup. But didn't really never really took off. I do apologize. I'm mostly just I'm not showing the. I gotta get a better angle as far as like actually seeing the cards I'm pulling from the packs. Once you're at the point of like opening multiple cases, you're just like, yeah, commons. Da 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 da. That's one nice thing about Star Wars Limited is like you just every single pack you could find a random hyperspace, and you're just like, well, my hyperspace is the most valuable card in this pack. So that's a fun little element, but not quite in Fab. You just have the foil in the back, the Majestics in the back, cold foil slot, and that's all you're really looking for. So I absolutely adore the design of this card. Electromagnetic Somersault. So like the 2 action cards on the active chain link are turned into their owner's hands. So like this could be anything from blocking with 2 cards and returning them both to your hand to make it an effective block 6. It could be a nice like action point generator with lightning greaves. Oh, it's Destiny. Hold the phone, hold the presses. Foil Earth's Embrace. The game knows what I want. Got pulsing Aether Life. Yep. Um, that's exciting. And I absolutely love the foiling with these elemental cards, especially with like an Aria with all the lightning effects. Oh my goodness. These foils are absolutely gorgeous. Um, oh yes, the illusionist card that I didn't actually look at. Destroy this. The next aura you play costs 2 less, but it costs you a resource. Interesting. Okay. So like a 4 cost resource would be a 3 cost resource, I guess. It's kind of cute and like Prism or something. Um, okay. Very interesting. Electromagnetism. Eclectic magnetism. When this attacks, you may play a non-attack action. This action chain link as though it were an instant. So basically, go again. Again, this 1 for 5. This 1 for 5 stat line showing up again. I'm fascinated with things like electrify. You know, you do a little eclectic magnetism, electrify as an instant, gain your action point back, and get extra damage as an instant. Whoo! Like how many tricks could you do with this card? You know, because obviously you could do things like put a go again or elite weave lightning, and then um, now you have like 2 extra action points. But yeah, I don't think there's too many fuse cards you're happy to weave lightning. I think that archetype's basically left by the wayside. Because yeah, it's not Ranger. It's only Runeblade and Wizard. So be a fun deck design space. You know, what does a wizard deck that fuses a lot look like? Um, I think is it just it might just be um the 0 for 4 go again, Entwine Lightning. I think that is it actually. I think all the other fuse cards were class related. So LSS thinking about everything yet again. No. I mean, you could just say because we've lightning at its worst is still just like a +3 on a lightning attack. So it's just nimblism, but it also triggers all your lightning effects. So not terrible. Just staring at me again. Electromagnetic discharge. Just yeah, I think for the next time, it's gonna be the camera should be on my side. That's just correct. Y'all just gonna pile of upside down cards. So a little miss on that one. But oh yeah, the next time play an instant card this turn, return an aura permanent. Ooh, buddy, that could be your channels, your sigils. So much crazy design space for that card, and the fact that it's rainbow, I don't know, could get pretty crazy. Um, and like all of like the neutral and like class rated sigils, like so much crazy stuff. Cause in general, putting your power to future turns has been limited to the arsenal. where it's like, oh, I need an arsenal for this kind of turn to work. But now you can just say, oh, okay, I'm just gonna play out this card, which in like Basilio's case also gives you um, amp, and that's also like me effectively getting an arsenal. Like whether it's literally a card draw or whether it's an embodiment that gives you an action point, which like this game there's lots of ways to get an action point off of a single card in this game. So um, super interesting stuff there. So let's see, box 2. We got Widow Web Feet, Eclectic Magnetism, Cunning Cloak, the most hype card, Urson Braves Foil. Let's go. Cold Foil Ink, Eternal Inferno, and Destructive Aethertide. Very cool cards. I love the Inferno with specifically like Storm Striders. Because like then you're like, oh, okay, if I can amp and make this thing more powerful, I can just Storm Striders get another one. Obviously, Lightning has a lot of ways to get an action point, so not so much a Cilio thing. With Storm Striders, you'd much rather be doing. I think he's much more broken with Lightning Greaves. I think that's pretty much a slam dunk right there. But Verdants, I think they both run them in the 80. They both. There's gonna be matchups where, oh, you're playing Enigma and you tapped out to attack. Well, let me just Storm Striders blow up all your dudes before their attack resolves. Pretty good. Oh, we got another double majestic pack. Okay, let's go. Seeds of Tomorrow. Fun little Oasis impersonation. For the next 5 cards that would be dealt, 5 damage would be dealt to you, and then put your card on bottom. And then a foil, Rampant Growth in Life. This has been the talk of the town. Little OTK action of Flesh and Blood. You gain a bunch of life, gain a bunch of amp, fire off a Surging Aethertide, give your next attack a +1 billion, and then go ham with whatever the last spell is. So obviously the dream would be something like a triple, pitch stacked rampant growth into, or rampant growth life. Sigil of whatever, Sigil of Solace. Gain 15 amp and then just fire away. Seems cool. And then every time you gain life during that sequence, you gain extra damage as well. So very, very interesting. Oh, baby, extended art face purgatory. Here we go. Now we're cooking. Instant respect. The game is telling me play Florian. All right, will we get a Marvel? Who knows? We got an extended art face purgatory. Absolutely savage. I love. So here, another brilliant mark of Ellis's design, right? So Runeblade has been the we weave attacks and non-attacks. We weave um arcane and physical together. It is the hybrid class to the T. Flavor and mechanics merging perfectly. Um and in Dynasty, the whole theme was if you pitch an attack and a non-attack, you get a bonus. So the only one that was like seriously looked at was like Cryptic Crossing, where it was basically if you pitch an attack action and an attack action, this card when it hits, you draw a card and your opponent discards a card. Face Purgatory. The logical extent to that. I love that design. It echoes that in a very fun way. But they didn't lean too hard into it because frankly it was kind of a major bust. Like I don't know, you know, what they were thinking, but oh, look at that little majestic Florian. Hopefully get the Marvel. Let's go. But yeah, there were cards like Annals of Sutcliffe where it was like if you pitch, it's 3 costs to draw a card, but if you pitch an attack and a non-attack, you get to create a single rune chant. Like, okay, sure. Which like, looking at it, I'm like even wanting to build that card. It's kind of like, okay, so I play like a rune stacky sort of deck and OTK style. And I also get to dig through my deck faster. I actually used it for like a second in like a combo Briar, I think, because like that was right around the time I started the game. Well, this is a fun story. So my favorite card in Flesh and Blood is Leviathan Consumed. So that's Leviathan Redeemed. Transforms the hero in a literal and a mechanical sense. Super fun to build around. The art's incredible. Just like extremely fun, extremely enjoyable. Like um, strategies with that one. And second favorite card, or the card I loved, my favorite card before that card was printed, was actually Blossoming Spellblade. It's a fuse with earth and lightning, which I'm very excited about the new Briar Majestic because with the one that's earth and lightning meld, because now that fuses Blossoming Spellblade by itself, coming to a UPF table near you. But anyway, you fuse both and get the effect every time Blossoming Spellblade deals damage. You get to play a non-attack action card from your graveyard as instant. And anyone who's been playing Flesh and Blood for a while knows that whenever you play a non-attack action card with Go Again as an instant, you gain an action point. This combined with things like Energy Potion, things like Fulminate, things like Force of Nature, and all kinds of stuff. It just led to these insane pop-off turns where you're playing like double Force of Nature, Fulminate, draw, go again, attack like an absolute madman. Um, tons of craziness, and love that deck. Snuff Out. Can you see the Viscerai specialization on that one? No, I'm just kidding. When it sits in here, you destroy an aura you control. If you do, they discard a card. super interesting because like I joke about the Viscerai visualization because like obviously if you attack with Viscerai and you play non-attack action, now you um now you have an immediate rune chant that you can blow up to make them discard a card. Absolutely savage. But you also have things like Real Blood Incantation, where once it has 0 verse counters on it, it needs to wait until the following turn to be blown up. Well, now you can blow it up for free. You make your own discard a card after getting all your value from it. Would I count on that draw sequence happening consistently? No, not at all. So I think it's still effectively a Viscerai specialization, but time will tell. And what have we here? Vaporize Shock. Destroy an aura permanent. Actually, read this one. With cost X or less and up to X aura or up to X aura tokens, where X is the total arcane damage you've dealt to the opposing heroes this turn. Cool. That's for 0 and an instant. It is a Runeblade instant, so no silly shenanigans. That's cool. So you can destroy Enigma auras, or we have to deal the damage first. So like ward still prevents you from dealing damage, so that makes it a little tricky. Huh. Review is out on that one. Actually, you know what I like most about this card? Just shock. Because it's a 0 cost instant, it has synergy with Channel Lightning Valley. I think Channel Lightning value is going to be what makes Lightning insane. And I think the being able to deal damage on your opponent's turn, like that little puzzle piece, like once people figure it out, is really going to elevate those decks. So, things like Sigil of Suffering, stand out to me, where it's like, oh, okay, now I get to block for 3, possibly block for 4, and draw a card off of a single card. Like absolutely crazy math. And you're deck cycling, and you're doing everything else. Very exciting. Love that kind of effect. Dust from the fertile fields. It is the Uvia Ash. So that's fun. I just love this. I love these callbacks to design, where it's like Dynasty was set up like 2 years ago, and we're still seeing all the payoffs from that set. Yeah, it basically causes Uvia to lose Phantasm, which in a deck, if you're so I always said if I played Dromai, it would. Oh baby, we got a legendary. We got another legendary. Ooh, ooh. I always said if I played Dromai, it would be some sort of like super wide Ashwing deck. But let's see, we got. Excuse me. No, okay. Rainbow Foil, Lightning Greaves. 1 resource, destroy this instant cards you play this turn, go again. That will be the core card in a lots of combo decks. I think a lot of the things we consider like a silly. I think this will be super fun as the meta matures and as deck building, gets puzzled out and solved. I think you look at most Verdance decks right now, and you're like, oh man, that's an amazing Florian deck. Or you look at most Acilio decks, and you're like, man, that's a great. That is a great set. look at every Aurora deck and let's like, sorry, look at every Acilio deck, and you're like, man, that is a great looking Aurora deck. And I think it's going to be super fun to see how these heroes just create their own identity. And I think they absolutely have the opportunity too. I mean, I think the ability to like this deck filter with like the discard effect of Acilio, absolutely crazy. Um, I think the ability to have not just the embodiment of lightning for this turn using Aurora's ability, but like store it up for the following turn. So you're doing things like, attack with go again from an embodiment, and then create another embodiment on that turn. That's when that gets really exciting. Um, you just rob all the momentum. Very cool stuff. And one of these art cards, he looks at me. Anyway. Let's see what we have here. We have Sigil of Aether. When the beginning, actually, destroy this. When this leaves the arena, deal 1 arcane damage to any target. If damage is dealt this way, amp 1. That's cool. It's not a lightning card though, so that's super interesting. Um, so not a lightning card, so loses the synergy with oh shoot, what's it called? Volzar. But still a damage and an amp, which has further implications. So very interesting. My head immediately goes to like Verdant, so I was like, oh, does she care about that? Very interesting. Little Aurora art piece. It seems to be working great. Very excited. This is the first time I brought my GoPro's webcam, so I'm very excited that it's doing quite well. See how the video quality looks after it's been online for a while. Oh, cold foil flash of brilliance. So one of my favorite moments in Tales of Aria, that's not true, that's my favorite. One of the many of my favorite moments was when people saw me run Mark of Lightning. And they were just like, what are you doing with this limited garbage? Well, of course, this was in the Blossoming Spellblade deck. And in that deck, it put your opponent in a situation of you don't have a choice but to give me at least 1 proc on Blossoming Spellblade. Because if they blocked it, I would activate Mark of Lightning and probably punish them by getting a buff like Channel Mount Heroic or Fulminate. That allowed it to go retroactively buff the card. If they didn't block it, of course, I just got the unhand ability. When this defends, you may discard a lightning card. If you do, return an aura you control to its owner's hand. It's not terribly exciting. Because, consistently you're like, oh, am I bouncing my own aura? And you're like, what's the best one to do bounce? Like, probably Acilio's. So, you're just neutral then? That's not terribly compelling. Next thought would be return. Oh, you have to control it, so you can't like bounce. Uh, you can't bounce an opponent's Ori. They can't be like channel Mount Heroic, and you're like bounce. That would be very funny. I think, huh? Probably the highest value one's actually like Channel Lightning Valley. That can't be right because if you bounce it during your opponent's turn, then you don't get it during your turn. So that doesn't seem right. It's a tricky puzzle. I don't know. When do you feel good? Is this constructed viable? Probably not. It's probably just a limited thing. But I always want to look for those edges. Look for those. Have those questions of, you know. Oh, we're channeling tree. Let's go. Absolutely adore the promo art got from SCGCon. And it's Matt as well from SCGCon. Tampa, the world premiere. I was there for Star Wars Unlimited. Absolutely crushes that. Did amazing that weekend. But um, yeah, that cold foil one for the promo. Whew. But yeah, this is super interesting because it's like now you're in a situation of like, oh, okay, I amp. So amp 3 can basically read like all of your surge effects are happening now. Like unless your opponent literally runs AB3 and they're like playing, Mechanologist or Brood or something. Um, you know, what does it look like if you're just getting all of your surges? Are you bouncing back sigils with your arcane zero cost arcane card? Are you getting go again into something else? Super interesting puzzle. There's the valley. There's the card that I'm excited about. In Lightning, this seems like the card that's like, oh, you got rid of all the card draw, and then it's just like, nope, let's go. Let's gas you up. But I love the dichotomy because I think you've seen a lot of deck builders, and they've been like, okay, we're gonna do zero pitch. It's gonna be, Cheerios, everything, Cheerios, Cilio, Cheerios, Aurora, and I just super don't think that's correct. Like, I think if this deck's gonna be doing unfair things, it's gonna be Lightning Valley and stacking up auras and all kinds of craziness. So very excited to dig into that. Etchings of Arcana. That's the returning an Earth card I was thinking about, like returning a sigil. So you could like Millennium Tree, bring back a sigil, then pitch that sigil to something in order to keep the Millennium Tree around. Interesting stuff. Which like then makes me wonder, like, oh, okay, we have like this card that's sigil overlay. I think is shuffle all sigils into your deck, and then it deals extra damage for every sigil you shuffle back in. It's like, oh, okay, is there a world where you're creating like pitch stacks with that? Interesting. Probably not. Probably not enough payoff there, but interesting thought. I keep looking at this card and I keep thinking, are we just doing Channel Mount Heroic with William Tree and go again? But not quite. I think it's a lot more fair. Call to the grave, my baby. Let's go. This card is absolutely insane in Levia. I absolutely cannot wait. Recursion was my favorite way to play Levia by a lot. Like emphasis on like Howl from Beyond and things like Ghostly Visit, and the ability to have like this consistency built into your deck where you don't need to run like you don't need to ruin your 6 ratio in order to actually use recursion is just the most exciting thing. Absolutely cannot wait because it's also a tutor, right? You look at your deck, you find Howl from Beyond, then you start playing, doing your game plan, boom, bang, bop, ready to go. Very exciting time. Oh my goodness! And before you even stop talking about Call to the Grave, we got 2 more Majestics. Splatter Skull. This is. Does it have to hit? Yeah, when it hits a hero, choose a face down card and their banished one that was banished by Intimidate and put it into their graveyard. So, like, just the existence of that card is going to change how people play into Rhinar. I do think it's specifically Rhinar specialization, basically. I mean, you can do some stuff with the other classes, but you got to work a little harder for it. But I think that's exactly what Rhinar wants. And now it's like it's an on hint. It abuses Intimidate. It just checks so many boxes, and just the existence of it. Even if you don't draw it on like a Blood Rush turn or whatever, then your opponent's still got to think, oh man, I gotta hold my cards back to be able to block Splatter Skull, and then suddenly you just hit them with a Pack Hunt and they lose. They get another card intimidated. So love that. And then we have a Arcane Barrier piece with Modular. And just like right now, it's just flavor, but like the ability to move this around in equipment zones, like what are they future proofing? What are you doing, LSS? That is crazy. No idea what they're cooking up with that one. Because, like, using an action in the middle of the game, Star Wars Limited, that's great. Flesh and Blood, not so much. Do. Got another double Majestic pack. My goodness. This box, when it rains, it pours. All right, so we're about to hit a last pack magic, so we're gonna chat about this before that. Truce. When this enters the arena, choose an opponent at the beginning of their end phase. Destroy this, and you each gain 3 life. When you or a card you control is a target of an attack they control, destroy this and draw a card. Like my gut. So it's funny. You see these kind of cards, and you're like, "Oh, this is a UPF card." Everyone saw Warmonger's Diplomacy, thought it was a UPF card, and now everyone's like, "Wait, hold up, is it just a UPF card?" It's just a UPF card. Yeah, it's just a UPF card. Yeah. Spending. Yeah, it doesn't have go again. This is your whole turn to do this. Each of you gain 3 resources. So, which is 1 opponent. Yeah. When you or a card you control is a target of an attack they control. Not super exciting. This card, though, very exciting. If you do arcane damage this turn, you can play as an instant and the runaway attack action. becomes an on-hit, action point, and an on-hit. Ooh, that's the formula we love. And it's a 3-block, and it's a yellow. Please. Don't threaten me with a good time. Very excited to run that card. And that's a wrap on that box. So, that case. So, two legendaries and a Marvel. Absolutely very exciting. Of course, tons of foils I'll be enjoying. Completing a foil collection. Gonna get everything laid out here. Oh, let me get all the blade. Doesn't matter. It is majestic. Oh snap. Absolute madness. So many cards. Very exciting times. Boom. Alrighty. Put you there. Put you there. You can go hang out with that. Boom. All right. There we go. That was my first case of Rosetta, so I'm very happy. Super excited to have this bad boy. Very playable card for what I want to do. I'm absolutely. I knew about the Marvel Heroes. I didn't know there was a Marvel sigil, and it is just giving me all the Golgari vibes. Absolutely love it. Sigil of Deadwood. So that's a fun callback. Don't know. I'll be rocking this one, but damn, that'll look good in the binder. Anyway, all right. And I'm signing off for this video.